Hey everyone, welcome to my channel as a married man. It's my official first video, and I thought I'd take on the topic of MGTOW, MTOW itself, and my thoughts on the subject. I apologize. I have to use the abbreviation of the term. Apparently YouTube has certain words that are a no-no, and MTOW's on that list. Like the N word or RAPE. There's certain words that get your video flagged. Uh, Even though I'm just a starting up channel, I wanted to make sure I don't hit any flags on YouTube. So yeah, I apologize for having to use abbreviations throughout the video, everybody. But moving on, today I wanted to review an article from mensgroup.com, and it's on MTOW, the ultimate guide to the men going their own way movement. And amusingly enough, it's labeled as masculinity. Toxic masculinity. And this article was written by Galla, and just wanted to give a quick heads up to him and to mensgroup.com where I got the article. So just to start things out, what is MTOW? It stands, as you know, as men going their own way. And according to the article, there are over 15,000 subscribers, just the one MTEL subreddit alone. So it is pretty popular, and I know there's a lot of big relationship YouTubers on this platform who cater to a majority male audience, and yeah, they preach MTOW. So as a married man and a listener to a lot of these different YouTubers, I know MGTOW. I just said it. Oh well. I know that MTOW is basically three things. Just to put it simply, the first is just stay on your grind. Second is to follow your purpose, and the third is no marriage. So those are the three things I usually get out of MTOW and the YouTubers that I listen to pretty much on a daily basis. They're kind of the inspiration that got me started to make this channel and everything. So I give these guys props, but I don't want to name drop them and get into trouble. So in a future article, maybe future episode, um, this article, it goes on to state how MTOW came into being kind of back in the early 2000s. Popular blogs citing there was an actual manifesto, and it grew from there. This article keeps going on to say that MTOW is associated with white supremacists, authoritarian movements, and whatnot. I I don't know anything about that. I've never heard any of these channels, any of these guys ever talk about movements, white supremacists, authoritarianism. I've never heard anyone who's ever talked about MGTOW. I've never heard them mention anything about movements behind it. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Um, yeah, these red pill channels and whatnot, they've never said anything about that. But the article does go on to state about the ideology, how these men are like anti-feminist, how they're misogynists, how male preservation calls for a complete disengagement from women. Um, I keep referring back to the YouTubers that I listen to, the guys on the YouTube platform here. Um, I've never heard these YouTube mentors call for any sort of disengagement from women. They do talk about extensively avoiding like pair bonded relationships, especially marriage. And I know marriage is like the biggest no-no in the MTOW community. Uh, I'll get into that later, but the article continues to state a lot of MTOWers believe women to be largely promiscuous. Women are, they practice hypergamy. And of course, the concept of an alpha and a beta man. If you're not familiar with alphas, betas, all those terms, it's all part of the MGTOW jargon. But I can attest, um, these YouTubers, they do talk about women dating up, which is what hypergamy is all about. Um, and how these women are always on the lookout for higher value men, even even when they're married, unfortunately. Um, I know that there's a million YouTube channels out there dedicated to cheating in relationships. Basically, channels just set up to read Reddit stories that's read by AI. Um, and yeah, a lot of YouTubers, these MTOW YouTubers, they use the same Reddit articles sometimes to kind of verify their opinions on why their movement is a definite benefit. But this article it keeps talking about the jargon that I mentioned earlier. Like simple things, common terms like red, blue pill, white knights, cucks, soy boys, and stuff like that. Monkey branching. That's stuff you'll hear quite a bit when you listen to those channels. Yeah, I'm of course familiar with all those terms, and going on to defend marriage, I'm probably, oh man, I'm gonna get called a lot of those names. But there is some more in this article. He talks about the levels of MTOW, the four levels. That's another thing that I've never heard of it. I have no idea what he's talking about. I've never heard any MTOW YouTuber talk about um, the levels of MTOW and what is involved in each level. To put it simply, they like this article. He equates MTOW with like something out of like Fight Club, if you've seen the movie, like it's like a secret counter revolution, counterculture sort of thing with guys having secret handshakes and stuff. It seems kind of like what he's alluding to. I might be wrong. If you want to check out the article yourself, I'll post a link to it. But yeah, that's the article in general. And it this talks about what MTOW is as a movement and the negatives, and he labels it as toxic masculinity, and you can take that for what you will. But myself, as a married man, I brushed through this article. I read it, and I wanted to give it a quick description as to what MTOW is, and then I could then give my thoughts on the movement. And yeah, as a married man, you'll be surprised that I actually agree with a lot of concepts of MTOW. Like I keep referring to these YouTube channels and the MTOWers I listen to. And this is stuff that they talk about in almost every video of theirs, that these guys, they support men being on their grind. They support men who follow their purpose, who work hard at bettering themselves. And I totally agree with all that. I think that's excellent. Hit the gym, eat healthy, set goals, work towards those goals, and be the best version of yourself that you can be. But The part as a married man that I have to disagree with is where he, the MGTOW policy of just disassociation with women and relationships in general. Like MGTOW doesn't say avoid women, they just don't avoid relationships with women. And I don't agree with that at all. Um, yeah, they talk about, avoid being in any committed relationship, um, just for the hazard that might come along with it. Definitely avoid marriage and basically anything that might put a man at risk, like emotionally or financially. It seems like the financial aspect in particular. And yeah, believe it or not, as a married man, I can understand the financial aspect. I do know that the court system is it's brutal when it comes to divorce, child custody, alimony, stuff like that. I know there's a million stories of guys who've just lost everything. They come home, they catch their wives cheating, they damn, like there's guys that they find out their child that they've raised all their lives that isn't even biologically theirs. And then these guys, sometimes they're forced to pay child support for that kid. I couldn't imagine like how much that would hurt. Um, being a man, having built something from nothing. I'm in my 40s now. I've been married about 12 years. I know what it's like starting out. I know what it's like um, amassing that wealth, anything from just saving up to buy your first car, to buying your first house. Like I understand the amount of work that a man has to put in to build, and just to see that all get taken away, that hurts a lot. So I understand how MGTOW talks about swearing off women, just chase your financial goals instead of, chasing that skirt, so to speak. Um, and I know that there are guys who have been destroyed by the system totally, like the court system. It is one-sided, I'll admit. As a married man, I will admit that. The court system's pretty one-sided at times. Um, and I know that drives a lot of guys to the MGTOW dark side. But my question is that the right thing to do? And in my opinion, like, no, it's not. I understand being hurt. Um, I understand divorce, custody, the cheating, stuff like that. I know it's my biggest nightmare, coming home and finding your wife in bed, or God, there's so many stories where a guy just glances at his woman's phone and sees messages, or these YouTube MTOers, they talk about the warning signs. And that's a real concern as a married man. It's seeing those red signs, red flags, and what it might mean. Um, but like that just comes with the territory, as being married. And like I can't agree with staying away from marriage. I can't agree with avoiding a relationship just to cover your tail financially. Like if you have to, if you're concerned so much about losing everything, you can get an arrangement, a prenup. You can make arrangements, even just having moving money around. Like I can understand that. Like I'm not wealthy by any means. I don't have money hidden away in offshore accounts. I don't have a fortune, or I don't own my own business, unfortunately. But I can understand wanting to protect your heart and wanting to protect finances. And I understand getting burned in relationships. I've been burned myself before being married, of course. You know, I've felt what it's like to have your girl cheat on you or and have been used by women as like a free meal sometimes. Like I've learned the hard way. I've gone through it. I've been there, done that. And that's here I am as a married man talking about it. But MGTOW, do I agree with it? No, not the part where it tells you just to stay, be a lone wolf, just to enjoy a woman's company, but not put a ring on it. I don't agree with that. I don't think that's right. Um, like as happy as it sounds, I believe in love. It's, yeah, I'll say it. I'll admit it. I believe in love and finding a partner. Yeah, and being in a committed monogamous relationship. And I want to emphasize the monogamous part because, as a married man, I think marriage is between two people. Um, so yeah, I'm kind of at odds with the MTOW people, the MTOW crowd, and now the polyamory crowd maybe, but I guess it's good to start making out enemies in my first video. But marriage is between two people. I'm not gonna just say a man and a woman. Two loving, caring people who care for each other. That's what a marriage is, and I believe in it. Two people that love each other, they join themselves in union. And I know, and that's the opposite of what MTOW preaches, and all these YouTubers I listen to are every day they're gonna tear me out a new one when they if they get a hold of this video. But seriously, just because you've been hurt, it doesn't mean you should stop investing emotionally in someone special, I understand, like investing in yourself, hell yeah. And I totally agree with MGTOW about that. Be the best you that you can be. MGTOW's totally right on with that. Yeah, about focusing on yourself, your grind, your goal, your purpose, be about it and make it happen. But there's nothing that says you can't do that while you're married. And so swearing off commitment to a woman or to a man, swearing off marriage, like no, I can't agree with that at all. Um, of course, I only have myself to use as a baseline. Um, I can't speak for other people, of course, but yeah, I can attest that personally that marriage is worth it. You know, coming out to someone at the end of the day is worth it. Having a person lie next to you at night is worth it. And then, there's the other perks of marriage, like when you want to have your children, if you want to have children, it's a children are procreation in general, like creating the next generation. I think that's a biological imperative in every creature, and especially in humans. I know there's guys that I'm not ever gonna have kids, God forbid, get married, but I think having children is it's a natural aspect of life. And I think that's marriage is what is the glue that holds a family together. You start out as a couple, um, bring children into this world, and the marriage is the glue that holds that whole family together. That's pretty much what I'm getting at. And I think it's worth it. Having a marriage is worth it. Having kids, well, whether you want them or not, that's no big deal. But marriage itself, I think, is a big deal. And yeah, there are risks, financial and emotional, and on top more than that. But being a forever bachelor and coming home to an empty house, like I can't see how that is fulfilling. I you can fulfill your dreams and everything, get that promotion, get that job, own that company, buy the car you want. I'm a man in my 40s. I know what it's like to want to have your own house, have your own car. Like, uh, I'd have 5 cars if I could. But it takes money, and marriage is, you can earn that money yourself, or you can earn that money as a couple, yourself and your partner. You can still reach your goals, but I just can't imagine coming home to an empty house. And I think that's one thing these YouTube MTOers, they don't really talk about that aspect of it. They only talk about the negatives of relationships, which is the I got cheated on, which is the I found my wife in bed with someone else, et cetera, et cetera. And the kid's not mine. Like I said earlier, there's 1,000 stories. There's a million channels that talk about these stories. It's just YouTube drama, but you can't base your life on the experience of what other people have gone through and the potential to possibly get hurt. So yeah, anyways, to sum it up quick, you know, as crazy as it sounds, there, believe it or not, as a married man, there are elements to MGTOW that I totally agree with. But at the same time, you know, the biggest element, that of being in a relationship, and marriage itself, that I can't agree with that, unfortunately. I think it's wrong. Um, I can make a whole video. In fact, you know what? I definitely will make a whole video on a woman's role in MGTOW and why MGTOW exists. And I know exists in response to feminism and the feminine theory. Feminism, sorry to use the other abbreviation. It's too late, of course. Said MGTOW 8 times already, but yeah, another video as well, that I'll do in the future is feminism. Another video is just a woman's role and why MGTOW exists. It's actually a pretty deep rabbit hole once you start looking into it. Just doing a little bit of reading for this video, I fell down that rabbit hole. And so you can't just blame guys for MGTOW. Like you have to ask yourself why. Why did it form in the first place? What did women do to men that made them want to walk away? So to all the MGTOW guys that are listening, to all the women that are listening, if anyone's listening, I know I got like maybe 1 subscriber right now and 2 views on my intro video, but to anyone listening, yeah, you need to look a little deeper as to who's responsible. Like it exists, like MTOW exists to protect men, and it's a response to feminism and a generation of women who view men as kind of a commodity. They're just something to use for resources and to monkey branch on up. And so MTOW, feminism, women's rights, like the stuff's all connected. Um, and I don't agree with MTOW at the end of the day, at least their most important rule of MTOW, I don't agree with. But and I think it hurts more than it helps. But let me know what you think. Um, I can go more in depth on the subject. It's a pretty deep subject, so feel free to leave me a comment on this video. Tell me what you think, politely if you can. Like I said, I have no audience at the moment, so feel free to leave a comment and I'll get back to you definitely. Let me know if there's other video ideas that you want me to cover. like I said, I am going to cover feminism. I'll cover a woman's responsibility with MGTOW. That's another one right there that I think is important to cover. But just don't forget to also smash that like button, as they say. Give me a subscription if you're interested in what I had to say. And and I got my first subscriber yesterday. So what is it, like 99,999 more to go. 100,000's the goal anyways. But thanks for listening, guys. I didn't mean to, hope I didn't drone on too much. Um, I'll see you again in the next video.